He didn't threaten you, right? No, I never even spoke to him. That line hit hard, because the truth is what went down. Flat-out harassment, being tailed like that, that's not regular. That's not safety. That's fear. And no, he doesn't even live nearby. Just another online clout chaser stirring the pot. Does your employer know him? They asked. Oh, he just makes videos. But the bigger story here, Mayor Tiffany Henyard is facing a wildfire of backlash, and this time there's no dodging it. New Bodycam footage shows her being arrested by federal agents. Yeah, the feds finally pulled up. Henyard's been under fire for months, and now it's boiling over into full-blown crisis. The residents of Dalton have been fed up, demanding answers, and what's come to light, it's chilling. Allegations of fraud, corruption, abuse of power, all tangled up in a web she spun herself. Those around her, totally incompetent, loud but empty. Watching her speak, you'd never believe this is the woman in charge of an entire town. But folks have been whispering about an arrest for a while now, and now it's real. Reports confirm the FBI took her into custody, where she's headed next. Might just be a maximum security cell. The investigation started quietly last November. Subpoenas, documents, a long trail of shady decisions. And just last week, the people of Dalton hit the streets, holding signs that said, "Take our town back," because that's how bad it's gotten. And let's be clear, this isn't her first time facing legal heat. That old arrest for a car break-in, that's minor now. She's facing 22 criminal charges. Even her lawyer jumped ship, said she wasn't paying him. Meanwhile, Dalton is $20 million in debt. That's the cost of putting power into the wrong hands. And now, everyone's watching the fallout. Let's rewind. Henyard was elected mayor in 2021, but her real power and paycheck came from a different seat, township supervisor, a role she grabbed after the former official passed away. That job pays over $220,000 a year. And how does she protect it? By rigging the system. She pushed through a shady policy. If anyone runs against her and loses, their salary drops from $225,000 to just $25,000. Who's going to risk that? It's not just shady, it's a straight-up political chokehold. Residents are so desperate, they've hired a former Chicago official at $400 an hour just to try and fix this mess. And now, federal agents are closing in. FBI raids hit both the village of Dalton and Thornton Township. Court-authorized, coordinated. They took employee records, police reports, financial documents, everything. It all traces back to Henyard and her own counsel. They've had enough. Some are publicly denouncing her, while others are begging for transparency. Henyard went on camera recently, dodging questions and pointing fingers at her haters, but this isn't petty politics anymore. This is deep corruption. The councils even brought in Lori Lightfoot, yes, that Lori Lightfoot, to lead an independent probe. The accusations keep stacking. One employee claims Henyard sexually assaulted them during a business trip to Vegas. Staff are saying they haven't been paid. Others fired illegally, and when Henyard made her last media appearance, insiders said her behavior was off the rails. The kind of stuff that makes all the whispers feel real, and the three people in her inner circle useless. No clue how to manage a crisis. No professionalism. Just vibes. The damage they've done will take years to fix, if it's even fixable. They couldn't be more wrong. Their grip on reality. Embarrassingly fragile, almost non-existent. Somehow, they've convinced themselves that their nonsense actually matters, that they're stirring the pot or outsmarting the public. But here's the truth. It's the exact opposite. Every wild claim they throw out falls apart under the spotlight. And to think someone like Henyard talking the way she does actually holds the mayor's office, a leader, that's almost too absurd to believe. While she was there, FBI agents were busy conducting interviews. On site, the scandal runs deeper than anyone imagined, especially when you look at how she controlled Dalton's police force. A former police chief stepped forward, revealing how Henyard used her security detail for personal errands, not official business. It's a clear sign of power abused and village funds drained for selfish reasons. Officers who took oaths to serve and protect were reduced to personal chauffeurs, running errands instead of focusing on their duties. Critics have been brutally honest, labeling her one of the most self-centered and dishonest officials the village has ever seen. Multiple stories paint her as a ruthless bully, firing anyone who dared to challenge or question her. Nationally, Tiffany Henyard has become a lightning rod for controversy. For a small Illinois town, the message is loud and clear. They want her out. Their anger? It's rooted in blatant misuse of taxpayer money. She's surrounded by a security team that costs the village roughly $250,000 a year. But the excess doesn't stop their massive billboards plastered with her image, vehicles and buildings branded with her name, and even a custom 2024 calendar celebrating her own birthday. Beyond reckless spending, she's reshaped local politics to protect her power. While her salary sits at $225,000, she pushed a rule-slashing challenger's pay to just $25,000, cutting it by 90%. A move designed to scare off competition. Yet, despite all this, some brave souls are still stepping up, fighting to end her reign. The fallout goes far beyond dollars and cents. For the people of Dalton, this has become a deeply personal battle. Stories of intimidation, financial hardship, and betrayal by their own government keep emerging. These voices highlight the emotional wreckage left in the wake of Henyard's alleged corruption. One courageous woman said she waited decades, 20, maybe 30 years, and, if her worst fears were true, silence was no longer an option. She demanded swift justice. She spoke openly about surviving trauma, battling depression, and leaning on her faith to find strength to speak out. Now, she stands firm not just for herself, but for every woman silenced by fear and neglect. Staffers who worked closely with Henyard often had to speak freely in her presence because she constantly demanded input while juggling multiple projects. One assistant recalled planning a trip and mentioning May 21st. "That's my 31st birthday," she said. "I've never been to Vegas, and I wasn't sure if I'd go, but just being there on my birthday, even for work, would mean a lot." Her hopeful words sharply contrasted with Henyard's fiery, volatile demeanor. In one viral clip, Henyard was caught yelling at city officials, screaming, "I'm the leader." Her outburst left viewers thinking she was unraveling and dodging responsibility. Y'all forget, the leader. People want to hear from the leader. People want to hear from the leader, not from folks who just sit around talking, she snapped, adding fuel to the fire. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot released a scathing report exposing Henyard's reckless spending. Lightfoot's findings revealed money meant for Dalton's residents was wasted on luxury items and suspicious financial deals. Critics argue her lavish lifestyle has only worsened the village's economic crisis while ignoring urgent community needs. The public outrage focuses heavily on her use of taxpayer dollars for extravagant hotel stays and pricey meals at places like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and Bubba Gump Shrimp Co., all disguised as official conference expenses. She even showed up to a town meeting wearing a Bubba Gump hat shortly after residents questioned her Vegas trip. The spending alone was outrageous. But when local journalists grilled Henyard about that Las Vegas trip, her answers got downright bizarre. And then remember, what you're about to hear isn't some sketch or parody. This really happened. When asked about her Las Vegas trip, Henyard's response was pure confusion. "What is that?" Then, caught off guard again, she stumbled. "No, you don't know if you were in Las Vegas." But moments later, she insisted, "Of course I do." The more she spoke, the more tangled and unclear her answers became. When pressed about whether taxpayer money funded the trip or if she flew first class, her responses grew even more evasive and vague. Meanwhile, breaking news out of Illinois took the story to a whole new level. The FBI launched a sweeping raid on both Dalton and Thornton Township. According to ABC7 News, federal agents executed court-approved subpoenas as part of an intense investigation into corruption tied directly to Mayor Tiffany Henyard. FBI teams seized critical personnel files, police department logs, and financial records connected to the village's inner workings. For months, Henyard had been under fire from her own village council, continually shifting blame onto her political rivals. But this isn't just political drama. Anymore, it's serious. In a move signaling the gravity of the situation, the council appointed former Chicago Mayor and ex-U.S. Attorney Lori Lightfoot to spearhead an independent deep-dive investigation into Henyard's behavior. The allegations keep piling up, some more explosive than others. One of the gravest involves a staff member accusing Henyard of sexual assault during a city-paid trip to Las Vegas. There are also claims of unpaid employees, illegal firings, and a pattern of financial abuse and misconduct. The charges are stacking fast, and each one is more disturbing than the last. Despite all this, Henyard went on camera denying everything during a televised interview. But sources confirm federal investigators were watching closely, collecting intelligence live as she spoke, further tightening the noose around her leadership.